Welcome back, folks, to World of Warships Legends. I'm Soopa-Dave, and today we're going to be talking about the premium or pay-to-win commanders that you want to save up your doubloons for. Uh, because even free-to-play players get doubloons from weekly missions, etc. An occasional crate if they got really lucky. That being said, right, if you want to know which ones are the most important premium commanders to get, this is a guide for it. Now, a few things to start off with, right? Everybody's going to have different opinions. I could say the sky is blue. There'll be a bunch of people that will say it's pink with purple polka dots, okay? So, that being said, another thing to this is this isn't the best premium commanders. There are different. These are the most important ones to get. How is it? Why is that different? I think most people agree. Azure, New Jersey, Colorado, really good commanders, among some of the best in the entire game. But you have Sims that is a free to play commander that can work on all your American battleships. So these are not going to be on the list. These are going to be the most important ones to save for that are going to give you a unique experience with a ship line, or maybe they're just that good where they need to be on the list. A real quick honorable mention, guys, to this list that isn't going to make the top five. There's going to be, first of all, anybody can make the argument for almost all the Azure Lane commanders. But for me, Ivan D. B. Delightful, this guy almost made the list. And the only reason he didn't was because Kuzganov is such a good normal cruiser commander. But this one was very close to actually making our list. Now, at number five, guys, we have Haruna. And then part of the reason I did this guide out is if a couple people are saving, a couple of these commanders on this list are going to be on here, okay? Haruna is one of them. Why is Haruna one of them? Well, it's 90% for a base trade, okay? With this game turning into a lot of secondary ships coming out recently and they're getting secondary heavy, this is a very good commander to have for the base trait, and particularly because there isn't that really good other base trait for secondaries besides Hipper. So this is the one that goes really with it. Not to mention that getting better accuracy in your secondaries and your range on your secondary build ships, very handy, right? And while there isn't a ton of secondary Japanese battleships, I think there is two of them right now. I think Dazen and Haruna, APR or ARP Haruna, and if you that's even if you want to count either one of them. While there is a limited amount of Japanese battleships secondaries in the game, who knows what's going to be coming forward in a lot of these commanders on this list you can only get once, one time or once a year generally. So there might be more Japanese secondaries coming out, but this is mostly for the base trait and how unique it is to have a good second base trait in this game, especially if you are free to play. Also, these are her skills. This is her unique skill. It's better than what's kind of up here normally in your first slot of the secondary builds, so not bad. At number four, Azure Lane, Cheshire, or Belfast. It's up to you on your playstyle and which one you'd like. But having one of these two commanders, Cheshire or Belfast, I only have Cheshire right now, can really help your line for the light cruisers of the UK. As you can see, let's go to our ships here. This top line, right, that's AP only, uh, it's not a bad line by any means, right? But you don't want to build your same commander for both of them and then have to switch all the time. Also, because of having some inspirations that can help AP, switching this can cost you a ton of commander XP. Whereas I'll use Cheshire because Belfast I don't currently have. But every perk that she has definitely helps the light cruisers for sure. You can take AP shell multiplier, the bounce right back, which is her perk, giving you better ricochet angles. Also, um, for your cruiser, also for a punch through and fixated. And then also you have this really good choice between fully packed or refill station. And her base trait is grin and fire. With that, you can put in on this, because this is for the light cruiser line, a custom AP, as you can see here, AP perks that really take this, I would say normally a pretty average or even a little less average cruiser line for me, and turn it into a lot of fun. So that's why Azure Lane, Cheshire, and Belfast are on this list. That is completely up to you. Before that, I used Tenet, but you can see not really a whole lot of skill traits that help you on this line. It's definitely not a bad commander, but these guys definitely boost you up quite a bit on that line. At number three, there is actually kind of a tie here, but it is Shelley Beapley or Victor F. Einstein. You could build this is up to your playstyle whether you want concealment or build into guns, but one of them is going to be really handy for your American heavy cruisers, as we will go list. Look here. So this top row, this American heavy cruisers, definitely has a different playstyle than your light cruisers. One of the weakness being that these don't have the world's best turret traverse. And for me, I personally like Einstein, but I could see the argument for Beapley as well. But for Einstein, his base trait, not only does he good for the heavy cruisers, but his base trait also helps the heavy cruisers with main gun traverse speed, right? And then not only that, but he has ingenious, also boosting the traverse speed. So something like Pensacola becomes the turret traverse ends up being not that bad and has a lot of perks that really help the heavy cruisers out quite a bit. In fact, I almost put this guy higher on the list, especially switching over to this. I've really felt the boost to my American heavy cruisers using this commander myself. Now, also Beapley, you can also use Beapley to get a radar or your detectability down to your radar. So both make it into the slot. It's up to your playstyle, but having something specific for the heavy cruisers American is really helpful. At number two, this one is going to surprise a lot of people, but Karumo Saruka, I don't know how to pronounce that, guys. That being said, this commander for all the cruisers for France that have the reload boosters, so that's the heavy cruiser line and a lot of the premiums, is really going to help your line. I did not expect this one to, and I've switched over to her for anything that has a reload booster, and it has been a significant and wonderful experience so far. I know that sounds crazy. I did not expect this. This was not even one I would have. This is actually one of the reasons I've made the list, because I did not expect this one to help any of my French cruisers that have the reload booster this much. Her base trait gives you better cruiser main reload and a better main battery dispersion. Always a solid thing. But you could also, for here, burn it down XXL, punch through. This is her unique trait, and this is a big one. You get a extra main battery reload boost charge, right? And while it's active, your shells have 25% better dispersion, 30 if you have it maxed out. Then you take along fixated but fully packed. Some of your ships may end up with 5 or 4 reload boosters. It is really not a commander that was on my radar before I just decided to use her one day and try it out, and definitely caught me off guard. At number one, this is going to be a surprise for some and not a surprise for others, but ARP Haguro. And hear me out, guys, right? I know Yamato is a good commander, but when you have her, you can build him into AP for your Japanese cruisers, right? So whatever ones you want to use AP more than the HE, which is not a lot, but it gives you that flexibility. And plus, with her on basically any Japanese cruiser, it becomes an absolute flamethrower. Now, obviously, AL Otago is not coming back. That would have probably been in this slot instead of her. But because this affects two entire lines really well and frees up your free to play commander for an AP build, I wouldn't have assumed this would have been one on my list either, but it definitely is. Her base trait is Deck on Fire, giving you 1% to your fire chances and helps your main battery reload range. Plus, you have fire chance here, and her unique skill is Hellfire, which again helps your HE. This thing becomes crazy with your HE. Your HE on Japanese cruisers, which is already good, becomes amazing with this commander. All right. And then that, like I said, that frees up you to use the Yamato commander for AP builds, which is very, very nice to have. With that being said, these were just my opinions. These are not facts. I'm not trying to sell commanders, but and uh, Haguro and Haruna were out now, and I figured this would be a good time to make a guide for people either saving up or knowing what they maybe should look at for over the next year because these commanders are only come out once a year. Also, down below, let me know some of your favorites in the place of these that you might have. Now, granted, I'm not saying these are the best commanders in the game. What I'm saying is these are the commanders that will help you the most, probably. That being said, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you folks next time.